Hello! Today we're going to introduce to you the concept of the new tourist through a case study called Understanding the New Tourist and some other interesting information we found from the internet.
Due to the urbanization process of various countries, most people now stay in the city. Even if you have time to travel, you will not experience the fancy travel of the special customs of the tourist area. People are used to living in cities. In this case, new tourists come into beginning. The fast pace of the city makes people in the city more hope to experience the natural scenery and the window blow in the grassland during the holiday, rather than going from one city to another. With increase in people's wages, people don't care how much it costs to travel. I think they are more about the quality and the process of the travel. The characteristic of new tourists are generally living in the city, yearning for a lazy country life. Compared with luxury hotels and famous cities, they are more willing to enjoy the beauty of blue sky, white clouds, and nature. The emergence of new tourists will bring development to the tourism industry, but it will also cause damage to tourist destinations. The tourism concept is iteratively upgraded. People no longer blindly pursue the density of scenic spots, but enjoy the slow life of vacation and the quality and the cultural connotation of tourism. Accelerate the arrival of the new tourism area, tracing the river, sketching, hiking, climbing, and enjoying a leisure, pastoral life, avoiding popular scenic spots, and going to the countryside for vacation, a new travel option. For many tourists today, waiting, watching the sunrise, tired and happy, this way of getting close to nature and taking a leisurely vacation is very suitable for parent-child travel. It is a good trend to transition from simple sightseeing tours to long-term stays and relatively high-consumption holiday tours. People no longer blindly pursue the density of scenic spots, but enjoy the slow life during holidays. More and more people tend to live in the same city for a few more days, living like locals, and discover the depth of the beauty of the place. Tourism, it has become a popular way of the life. But quality is the soul of the tourism. The supply side reform of the tourism industry is actually to establish a system with guaranteed quality and differentiated services. Only high quality participants can become the winners in the market. In this transition between old and new tourism in this area, old tourism relies on resource to win, and new tourism relies on product, service, and brands to win, with content as the core, and the initiative is given to consumers. New tourists can relieve the pressures of work and life, and relax their spirits completely. There is no psychological burden on the tour, allowing you to completely relax. Although the process of tours is tiring, it brings more spiritual and physical pleasure, such as enjoying the scenery, tasting food, staying in the hotels, listening to stories, and so on. New tourists can broaden their horizons and increase their knowledge and experience. Through tourism, people can observe the rich cultural landscapes with their own eyes, as well as learn about the cultural customs, eating habits, and religious beliefs of various places. New tourism can bring new feelings to people. For those who rarely travel, the new tourism provides an opportunity to broaden their horizons and relax. The place I want to go is completely arranged by myself, and everything is completely changed according to my own preferences. New visitors increase the chance to get close to nature. We spend most of our time at home, company, and school. We rarely have an opportunity to touch the outside world, and we rarely come into contact with the fresh and pollution-free environment. The new tourism provides us with the opportunity to get in touch with nature. In this process, we have more intimate contact with nature, can breathe fresh air more confidently, listen to the calls of insects and birds, and look up at the cloud in the sky. This feeling of relaxation is really unusual.
The case study gives a very good overview of what the new tourists are like. However, I took a closer look at it and found out that the latest citations date from 2007. Now we can talk about newer types of tourists and newer types of tourism. That's what we are going to talk about from now on. Contemporary tourists are interested in four main types of tourism. The first type of tourism that we're going to talk about is sustainable tourism. Now people are even more concerned with environment and the climate change than they were before, and some tourism organizations are contributing their share to spread awareness regarding the subject. People not only want to leave long-term positive impact, but also contribute as much effort as they can to the local community when they are traveling. Many popular hotels in Europe are becoming eco-friendly, giving travelers an opportunity to travel healthy. These are referred to as ecotel hotels. Second type is food tourism, also known as culinary tourism. Today, the food at the destination or location is a building block of the tourism experience there. Food represents the culture of the destination and can also be a primary source of interest for the tourist. More precisely, travelers might judge a tourist attraction based on the local dishes because food is tightly bound to the corresponding tourist spot. With that said, food tourism does not only refer to eating. It is the collection of activities such as vegetable farming, produce market, tasting sessions, etc. The next type, experimental travel or immersion travel, is a form of tourism in which people focus on experiencing a country, city, or particular place by actively and meaningfully engaging with its history, people, culture, food, and environment. There's been growing demand around culinary travel, cultural exploration, and activity-based travel experiences for a while now. Some famous examples of this type of tourism are making wine in Bordeaux, cooking street food in Vietnam, and hiking in Patagonia. The last type of tourism that tourists are very interested in today is well-being tourism. It has become an escape route for people with exhausting jobs and increasing work schedules. This type of tourism refers to tourism that promotes health and well-being through physical, psychological, or spiritual activities, and its popularity has increased in the recent years. According to a travel column conducted by Booking.com, 48% of travelers are willing to take holidays as a moment to reflect and make better life choices, and nearly 40% are interested in health or well-being travel experiences. These are the four main types of tourism that tourists are interested in today. Of course, there are other types that are pretty popular, such as dark tourism or wildlife tourism. There is also celebrity or film tourism, which we can consider to be a very important component of the tourism market of the USA with Hollywood, or South Korea with the Korean pop culture gaining fame rapidly. With this in mind, we can now talk about what are the newest types of tourists. So first of all, tourists can be allocentric, aka venturers, or psychocentric, aka dependables. Allocentric tourists are outgoing, self-confident, and adventurous. Usually these tourists fly to their country of choice and don't like the very crowded or touristy places, but instead prefer to take the off-beaten path destinations. Psychocentric tourists, on the other hand, are described as self-inhabiting, nervous, and non-adventurous. They're basically the total opposite of allocentric ones. Usually, they don't travel by air for psychological reasons rather than financial or other practical concerns. They prefer destinations that are familiar, can be reached by car, and have well-developed infrastructure. Also, we all well know the four main types of tourists: drifter, explorer, individual mass tourist, and organized mass tourist. But within those four types, there are other types of tourists that are emerging. So now we're going to talk about some of the most interesting ones. First of all, we have the foodies, who are connected to the earlier described food tourism, calling those ones with adventurous palate looking to discover authentic culture through food. The foodie is the type of tourist who is looking to do as the locals and eat where the locals eat. If food gets you up in the morning and you feel excited to eat delicious foods, then food tours might be for you. Foodies love and enjoy food and consider food as an experience. When they're not eating, they explore the best things to do and places to stay at destinations. When they're eating, they find the best places to eat as well as the local dishes that define the destination's culture and history. The second interesting type of new tourist is the incentive tourist. To understand who incentive tourists are, it's enough to simply explain what incentive tourism means. The earliest documented incentive tourism program was in the 1900s, when NCR Corporation offered a weekend at the New York Plaza to their employees. It is one of the major types of the MICE, which means Meeting, Conference, Incentives and Events sector. Its uniqueness separates itself from other types. Incentive tourism emphasizes fun, food and other entertainment activities rather than education and work. Promoting an incentive is all about building excitement, so often the way it is communicated needs to be creating and engaging. A website called Brightspot tried to gather the best spots for incentive tourism in 2021. This mix of cities, countries, and regions was chosen based on their incentive quality hotels, authentic activities, cuisine, and bucket list appeal. They include places such as Ireland's castles and green countryside, Portugal, where you can get good value for your euro, Iceland, where you can enjoy proper northern lights and geothermal baths, Africa that offers sub-Sahara safaris, and so on. Next type is special interest tourists. So what type of tourism are those tourists attracted to? Special interest tourism, SIT, is the provision of customized tourism activities that caters to the specific interests of groups and individuals. In this case, tourism is undertaken to satisfy a particular interest or need. Tourists engaged with SIT are seeking to learn more, enrich their awareness, and express themselves. They expect high standards of service and individualized focus. Many wish to travel in an environmentally sound manner and to have authentic experiences, be they cultural, social, or environmental, in which they have a positive engagement with the host community. The range of special interest tours is enormous. It may range from women-only trek down the Lira Pinta track in outback Australia to a bike tour of one of France's wine-growing regions where it is possible to meet those responsible for the production or the wine being sampled, or from gay-only resorts to whale watching in Antarctica. Next interesting type of tourist is the dark tourist. Anyone who's watched the Dark Tourist TV show will have a solid grasp of dark tourism already. However, for anyone who's new to the concept, this is the slightly shady act of exploring places associated with death or tragedy. Two examples for this could be going to Cambodia to see the killing fields, or to Mexico for El Día de los Muertos, which means the Day of the Dead. Also, attending Mexico's Day of the Dead could probably constitute the cultural tourism as well. We also have the disaster tourist, which may remind you a bit of the dark tourist. However, this time we have visiting places that have suffered some sort of environmental disaster. Whether the disaster is man-made or natural, people decide to take a look at the aftermath, and it isn't long before businesses start cropping up to cater to them. And after introducing to you some older and some newer definitions of the new tourist, our video comes to an end. We hope you had fun.